Hey guys, it's Kelsey here, your best friend on the homestead from roughandtumblefarmhouse.com. Today's video, I'm going to teach you how to make a very simple herb infused honey. Now this stuff is awesome if you're interested in kind of dipping your toe sort of and using herbs medicinally and herbs you can grow yourself at home. This is really simple, it's pretty much foolproof, and I'm going to teach you how to do it. So it only takes a few things to do this. You're gonna need whatever herb of choice that you wanna use. Now there are tons of wonderful herbs with medicinal properties. A lot of herbs we use in our own kitchen. For example, we made a thyme honey here in this jar that I'll show you a little bit more of in a second. But things like oregano and sage and lemon balm, a lot of herbs have properties outside of just being delicious in the kitchen that you can use them at home to make these herbal infused honeys. Now, I'm not gonna go into all the different ones in this video because that would take forever, but I am gonna link to a blog post below where I will cover some more of the kind of common herbs that you might want to grow at home that you can also use in sort of a medicinal honey. And even if you don't want to use it medicinally, it of course has a lot of culinary uses as well, this sort of honey. It just tastes delicious in teas just because it tastes good. You can also use it for putting on cakes or pancakes and things like that. So there's a lot of uses for an herbal honey. But today this one we made is kind of a more medicinal one. Now let's dive into how we make this. So the first thing you're gonna need, as you can see here, is a mason jar. I just made a smaller batch because this tends to go a long way and last a long time. So I like to make it here in these pint-sized jars instead of using quart-sized jars. And then you're also gonna need a honey. Now, some people have given me grief on videos in the past where I talk about using organic honey. Now, in the United States, the USDA doesn't really have, well, it depends on what you look at. Some places it says like, yes, the USDA does have like rigorous honey standards. Sorry, the mosquitoes are horrible today. Like rigorous standards to meet organic honey production. Other countries do have standards for organic honey. So whether you use organic or not, I typically just use a raw honey for making this kind of medicinal mixture here. But whatever honey you have on hand is gonna work just fine. The next thing we need to make this is an herb of choice. And for this, we're actually gonna use fresh herbs, which is wonderful. And in this one, I am using thyme. Now, thyme is wonderful for kind of like sore throats or if you're kind of like phlegmy, mucusy, that sort of a thing. So that's kind of my purpose for making this one specifically. I got this started a few weeks ago. If you're watching this video kind of when I'm posting it towards the end of summer, now is a great time to start some of these medicinal honeys because as kids go back to school, as we get into sort of like cold and flu season, it's nice to have some of these on hand already ready to go. And now for this, I actually used a lemon thyme because I had it, number one. And number two, the lemon and the honey and the thyme, it just goes together. It's so fragrant and beautiful. That's kind of the mixture that I wanted to use. So once you have your mason jar situated, you got your honey situated, then you're gonna go and harvest your herbs. And for this, you want to basically fill the jar as much as possible. Now this has wilted down a lot from what you'll see here in the video, from what I gathered. I didn't have quite as much time as I'd like to use, but before we actually put the honey on it, we are gonna let it wilt down. So when you're gathering it fresh, gather maybe more than you think you need. So for this, I would say close to 2 cups of fresh thyme is what you want to make a pint-sized jar of a thyme honey elixir. Once you have gathered your herbs, it's always a good idea to give them just a little bit of a quick rinse. And then one thing that works really well is to stick them in a salad spinner. If you have one, whip all that water off of there. If you don't have a salad spinner handy, you can actually just kind of, shake them off that way. Or you can also just set them in a kitchen towel and press the water out of them, works as well. Now, once we have most of the water off of our plants, then we are gonna go ahead and let them wilt for a little bit. So use a fresh towel. If you use a towel to kind of get the water off, set the towel out, sorry. Oh, you're filming outside and our puppy is having a fun time chasing the ducks. Got a little distracted there. Anyway, set out a fresh towel and lay the herbs out on the towel, really spread out, and let them wilt. So you just want them to look kind of droopy, wilty, and that is gonna actually take out around 50% of the moisture, because if we have too much moisture in there, it's actually gonna cause us to ferment, and that's not what we want at all. A little bit of moisture, not a problem. Too much, not a good thing. Now mine, I think I harvested sometime late morning is a great time to harvest your herbs. You want to get them before the heat of the day has kind of driven those sugars further down into the roots, but also after kind of the dew of the day is gone. That's a great time to collect your herbs. And from there, I let them sit probably until the next morning, and then I added them into my jar. So really simply, once you've got those wilted herbs, stuff them on in your jar. You don't have to chop them up or anything. You can leave them whole. If you want to chop them, you certainly can. That is definitely going to give you some more surface area and probably a little bit more sort of like flavor or taste of the herbs. Otherwise, just put them in there whole. and then we're gonna cover it with the honey. After that, we're gonna stick a 2-piece cap, whatever kind of cap you have, on your jar, and we're gonna let it sit. Now, for how long you let it sit is up to you. If you're just doing it for flavor, let's say you're making like a lavender honey, like for teas and things like that, that could just sit for maybe like 2 weeks. If you're making an infusion that you want to be more medicinal, that you're gonna wanna leave for closer to 4 to 6 weeks. So this, I believe, has sat for probably 6 weeks. And then we are gonna go ahead and take out the herbs from the honey. Now, some people choose to just leave the herbs right in there. That's not a problem. They are not gonna go bad in there. That honey is keeping them preserved. But if you want to, you can. I probably will on this one, just because if I'm giving this to my kids and they see like some floaty stuff in there, they're gonna be like, well, what's that? I don't wanna have that. So I'm gonna take it out, and with this thyme, it's simple enough. It's all on the branches. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull it straight out of the jar. However, if you are doing something more like a lavender, then you're gonna wanna strain it through something. So like a cheesecloth, or if you have kind of a metal sieve that you wanna put it through, sieve, I never know. That you want to pour it through, that'll work to collect all those herbs. And then of course you can, if you want to cook with those herbs or bake with those herbs or feed them to your chickens or toss them in the compost, whatever, you can always do something a little bit else with them too after you put them in your honey. Now again, for this, what I will basically do with this for my kids, if they have kind of like a phlegmy throat or something, I like to just mix it. I just make kind of like almost like a lemonade sort of a thing. So I will just warm up some water, and then I will add some honey to it, and then a little bit of lemon usually to help if they've got kind of like a gunky throat or a sore throat. With this, it actually has a really nice lemony sort of kind of smell, and not quite as strong of a lemon flavor as if you had actually mixed lemon into it. So that's what I would do with this, is like, let's say per mug, I would add maybe a tablespoon of lemon juice, 1 to 2 tablespoons of this honey, and then maybe a little bit of milk, and then stir it up and make kind of a nice tea for them. You can of course pair it with other teas as well, or if you want to just spread it on toast or something, you can do that with it too. Now again, I'm going to link below to that blog post where I have some other herbs and sort of like herbal combinations. If you got kind of, you're trying to make your own sort of home medicine chest, and herbs and honey is a very safe and easy way to get started with that. And if you're also interested in kind of some more natural herbal home and body care, I'm going to link some other videos up here. I think they go over here. Here, one of these days I'm going to figure it out, over here or over here. I'm going to link some videos for you to check out if you're interested in that sort of thing. Otherwise, we will see you here next week for more from our rough and tumble farmhouse.